Hello, fellow toolboxers. Welcome to episode 276 of the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox. A real good one, a regular with Kevin Gregg, which is always very popular, has a lot of views and downloads. Where we talk about updates and some hand-picked court cases, federal litigation, BI kind of stuff that are interesting. So you'll enjoy that one. If you want to get like a hardcore detail of every case, check out Kevin's podcast at Immigration Review. You can find that at iTunes and everywhere else. I'm Immigration Lawyers Toolbox, or Immigration Lawyers Toolbox podcast. That's mine. That an Immigration Review is his. So enjoy that. Now, I could, if possible, leave reviews for both of us wherever you're watching this, so we get more attention in the immigration community, and more attention we get, the more kind of information we just put out there and help everybody. And one thing along that line that we're doing right now is the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox is doing a CLE, an hour in California CLE. And if your state reciprocates, you can use that. But talking about Iran-specific immigration issues, if you handle Iranian cases, you know how unique these are, and you might want to get an update on what's going on and what the timelines are and issues that exist. If you've never handled an Iranian case, 100% you need to see this video and this training. It's going to be a live event. We'll probably have the recording available on circle.so, where we store all our data. Our community group is there. Not immigration lawyers can join. Most of the group community is free, other than our training courses. So just email me and let me know you're an immigration attorney, a bar number. You can join circle.so private community page. It's like a Facebook group, but we took Facebook out of the equation there. So it's going to be helpful. The recording is going to be there as well in the live. So check it out. Learn about Iranian immigration cases. You need to know this stuff because the issues Iranians deal with are different than other immigrants from different countries. So you got to know that. And we have a sponsor that was kind enough to come and support that CLE and get it moving, which is Cerenade's eIMMIGRATION. As you know, Cerenade has been another sponsor, joined us, and their software is great. Our firm has their software as well. The podcast, obviously sponsored by the Immigration, is a modern practice management software for immigration attorneys and other legal professionals to manage their cases, clients, forms, billing, and much, much more. They have e-signature systems. It's a ton of stuff. The software is trusted by thousands of happy attorneys in 2022 and earned the highest rating for immigration software on both Capterra and G2, best value and best ease of use, among other awards. It's a modern practice software that's cloud-based, sleek, and intuitive UI, and bank-grade security. A bunch of good stuff there. If you want a demo, go to cerenade.com/immigration or email them at sales@cerenade.com, Cerenade with a C. But I do want to mention a new thing that they've done just for Toolbox users, a real massive discount program they have, where if you use the discount code when you're getting it, Immigration Lawyers Toolbox Offer 2023, you get at least $1,000 in savings. They waive the setup fee. It's a $400 saves right there. They waive the conversion fee from their standard import, savings of $600. And the first month will be free. The savings depends on the number of users you have. So it's something to check out. We have great vendors in the immigration space. This is just another one of them. They've been very supportive of the immigration lawyers community with the CLEs and support the magazine, the podcast, and all that good stuff. So, without further ado, let's get the show started. Again, if you're interested in getting involved and signing up for the community we have on circle.so, the website, if you're an immigration attorney, it's free. So just email me the bar number so I know it's you, and we'll take you there. And before we started, all the information here is intended for general educational purposes only, not intended for individual legal advice. Consult with an attorney about your case. Let's get it started. Kevin, good to see you again on the podcast. Obviously, you have the one of the best immigration lawyers podcasts, Immigration Review, but thanks for coming out. Our episodes are, I gotta say, surprisingly always one highest count episodes when it comes to downloads. So I was like, I'm really happy about that. I would expect the ones where I'm talking about stuff to be the most watched, but it's the ones where you come on. So I appreciate the time and doing this for me and for our colleagues. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm happy. Look, I appreciate that you like my podcast. I love yours too, and I'm glad that people are listening to it. I really do appreciate that because, I'm just reading the cases and doing my best to explain what they say, and so I'm glad. I hope that that's helpful. I'm doing well. How are you? Everything's good with the kids. Not getting hit. Nothing like that. Everything's not getting injured.
No, but I was talking about Kevin first. My kid just came home and just chucked a shoe right at me in the places where you don't want to get a shoe chucked at you. So I was kind of keeled over for a bit, but I'm feeling better right now.
I was going to play coy with that. I wasn't going to drop that for everybody, but you just came out and said it.
Yeah, I'm a TMI kind of guy, but I kind of, didn't say it too directly, I guess. But that's good. And we got the conference popping up on the 24th. So a lot of finishing touches for these live in-person conferences. And We have a CLE. That's a live CLE we're recording on about Iranian immigration issues in March. So we're getting people, if you're interested in that, to come in and all that kind of stuff. But it's good. It keeps you busy. You got a baby that doesn't sleep, so that takes a lot of hours of work, which means you got to be really efficient in the hours that you have, which is, but you kind of just rise to the occasion when you have kids and these kind of issues. So it's overall as well, just tired, but a love of life that comes with it. You're like, well, there's a lot of fun stuff to do, but that's a long-winded version of what's happened to me. You're keeping busy too in San Diego, but now cases only, but with a bunch of other stuff. But what's going on in your neck of the woods? How's the practice going?
It's going good. I'm actually red-eyeing tonight to Miami for the ALA South Florida conference on Thursday and Friday, and though I am not packed, and actually the circuits have gone wild this week. It's only Tuesday. Already got 6 cases to do for this upcoming one, so I'm trying to get all of those read and recorded even maybe, so I can edit on the plane. You know, not similar to having a kid, I suppose, although I've never had a kid. But like, yeah, I've got to plan everything to make the podcast work. I got to maximize time or done work. So it's all good, and some interesting cases already. That conference you're doing, that's your O conference, right?
Yeah, O1A extraordinary ability visa A to Z for beginners.
Cool. I remember from our interview, it's going to be a small group of people networking all day, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we have like I don't know, 9 or 10 students come in, and almost as much mentors and professors, if you will. So we'll have lunch and dinner together. So all the intensive events to really get people running and doing the networking and connecting. By the time this is published, probably it's gonna be filled up, but I might have like one seat we could shove in there, who knows? But that one thing about East Coast is from the West Coast, that red eye, all the flights are red eyes. It's so annoying when you want to fly.
Yeah.
He like cuts out a whole day. Like you just waste trying to go to the East Coast.
I love the red. I love the red
Oh, I
eye.
can't
I
handle
save a day. As long, I mean, I don't love it. As long as you can get 2 hours of sleep on the plane and then a 2-hour nap when you land, you're good to go. You get the whole next day.
So you are ready to have a kid then with those kind of hours for sleep.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll get back to it. Let's talk cases. I had to start off with matter of Chen. These are the January cases. Always trying to talk the favorable cases on your podcast, on these interviews. Matter of Chen is the BIA agreeing with the overwhelming group of circuits, I think all circuits, that held that, the continuous Nis-Chavez Pereira deficient NTA issue held that a final order of removal doesn't stop the accrual of continuous physical presence, doesn't implicate the stop time rule, just like a notice of hearing doesn't implicate the stop time rule in the Chavez, just like a deficient NTA doesn't implicate the stop time rule, that's Pereira itself, nor does a order of removal, because it's not listed under the statute.
Oh, interesting. That's what
and so you've got, I don't know, 100,000 non-citizens who've got final orders of removal who might not have had the 10 years when they were ordered removed, but do have it now. And so long as they have a qualifying relative, a U.S. citizen or LPR spouse, parent, child, they are potentially eligible for reopening. That's when this is going to all really come into play. Potentially eligible for reopening and to apply for non-LPR cancellation of removal. And wherever else there's a stop time rule, that should also apply. So that's matter of Chen. I mean, really agreeing with all the circuits that have said that. That's the good. The bad on matter of Chen is like the BIA under this administration seems to always give and then also take a little at the same time. The BIA then held in adjudicating whether reopening is warranted, applying matter of Quello as it always does and always should, that the non-citizen has to establish prima facie eligibility for the relief. Well, what does that mean? We've always known that means you got to submit the relief application and show that you could warrant the relief. But in matter of Chen, the BIA seems to take a pretty hard line and say that Mr. or Mrs. Chen need to establish prima facie eligibility for relief as a matter of discretion and as a matter of hardship. And in addition to, of course, not having disqualifying crimes and having the 10 years. And so it seems like the BIA wants to have a mini removal adjudication or mini removal hearing in the motion to reopen itself. And, prima facie on good moral character. And it's balancing, it's doing all of this in the motion to reopen context, held that Ms. Chen didn't satisfy it on discretion, on good moral character. So really putting a high burden on motions to reopen, even though it's agreeing with the other circuits and saying, even though she got her 10 years because she's been here for a long time after the removal order, still didn't meet it. The light there, though, is, and I'm actually using this argument in a motion I filed today, is, the BIA in matter of Chen said a removal order, and this is just a paraphrase, a removal order doesn't implicate the stop time rule because it's not listed in the stop time statute. Fair enough, right? A textual based argument. Well, in matter of Fernandez, the BIA said that the DHS could save a deficient NTA by doing some other things, but those other things aren't listed in the NTA statute, INA 239A. So it seems the point is that now the BIA is adopting this very textually based analysis when it comes to NTA issues. And if that's the case, then there's a lot you can do with that, because the statutes that refer to NTAs, they're very clear. And if we're going to say if it's not listed, it doesn't count, then a lot of arguments can be made. And I-261, for example, which is used to bring new charges of removability and removal proceedings, that's not listed at INA section 239A. So how can that amend a deficient NTA? That kind of argument. Matter of Chen adopts that logic. I'm using it. Everybody else should too.
Yeah, let us know how it goes. That's gonna be a fun pushback right there.
See what happens. I mean, the deficient NTA thing, it's sometimes I'm making the arguments and it kind of feels a bit like a game, but it's a game with real world consequences. If you have a client who doesn't want to be in removal proceedings and DHS is not going to re-NTA them, that is their prerogative, then that is a real world consequence from what is sometimes a very silly argument, but it's a silly argument that the Supreme Court gave us 5 years ago and continues to give us.
I wanted to jump in for a quick second and talk about one of our wonderful new sponsors, ImmigrationEvaluationDirectory.com. Did you know research reports psychological evaluations can increase an asylum applicant's chance of approval by 78%? Psychological evaluations are hugely beneficial in hardship, cancellation, asylum, and other types of immigration cases, whether with USCIS or the Immigration Court. Connecting with qualified clinicians has never been easier thanks to the ImmigrationEvaluationDirectory.com. Free to use, you can filter the directory by location, language, case type, and more, then review profiles and reach out. The Immigration Evaluation Directory is your one-stop resource to find the best therapist to help. Explore more today at ImmigrationEvaluationDirectory.com and get the help that you need. I'm a voyeur in this whole deficient NTA situation, where I just get updates from you on what's happening there, and it's always mind blowing. Like, what is going on here?
It never ends. It never ends. It's like I picked the crazy time to start a case law podcast because I can count on a deficient NTA case multiple times a month. And so what would have replaced those? And I don't know when that'll end, but here we are.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for updating us on that. What else is going on?
Another issue that I've been watching with deficient NTAs through the circuits, and it's picking up steam, and it's something I was touching on in the crimmigration piece I did for your magazine, which I love. Not my piece, but your magazine. United States v. Myers in the 8th Circuit. And as I said on social media at the time, the 8th Circuit, and this is not an immigration case, but the sentence enhancement case is applied to immigration when they apply the categorical approach. 8th Circuit is adopting the isomer argument, and somebody correctly informed me on Twitter that the 8th Circuit already had, but I didn't know about it. So to me, they're adopting the isomer argument, and that is that Missouri's definition of cocaine, in 2003 at least, was broader than the federal definition of cocaine, because Missouri criminalized all types of cocaine isomers. I don't even know what that is. I guess it's a chemical. And the feds only criminalized optical and geometric isomers, not positional isomers.
Remember, Ninth Circuit had a situation like this too a couple years back that the
Ninth Circuit did, and then they got cold feet and they revoked it. So the Ninth Circuit was way ahead of the curve there, but then they got scared. I don't know what any of those isomers are, but it doesn't matter. Federal is the Missouri version is overbroad vis-a-vis the Fed, and the cocaine's not divisible. You're not going to get a conviction, for example, where the prosecution proves the isomer.
Yeah.
which means that it couldn't be used to enhance the sentence. And it would mean to me, and really, I don't see how I'm wrong, that Missouri cocaine possession from at least 2003, whenever the definition was, is not a law relating to a controlled substance violation, cannot be a drug trafficking aggravated felony, is not a drug inadmissibility provision. I mean, it's crazy. And so holding the eighth is aligning with the seventh without saying it. The seventh made a similar holding last year on meth. So you got the seventh and the eighth completely all in on isomers and the chemical divisibility of these statutes. You've got the ninth circuit, you've got the 11th circuit kind of agreeing with it in one of their decisions last year, but saying you didn't prove to us that the isomer exists, which whatever. But the implication is that if you had proved to us through a different expert report, we would agree. That's the implication, at least. So like this is gaining steam. Not to mention the 11th Circuit has held that Florida's definition of marijuana is overbroad, as the 8th Circuit has similarly held with Florida marijuana. That is, Florida is criminalizing possession of the seeds and the stalks and the stems, whereas the feds only care about the smokable portions. So not an isomer argument, but similar, and the 11th has held it, that these drugs can be overbroad themselves. Not just that the state criminalizes more drugs, but that the drugs that they do criminalize are broader than the feds. And that is just, that's a big argument, and it's gaining steam. And so I mention it whenever it comes up, and it came up last month, the United States v. Myers.
You know, I always say like immigration touches upon every aspect of other fields of law, like the immigration and like you know, all these different things that may pop up, investment based has contracts laws and all this kind of stuff. But you know, it touched on normal life too, and chemistry wasn't one I would like jump
Right.
out and say like chemistry applies in immigration. There's chemistry factors that come in. So fascinating area of law that we're in.
Yeah, no, you gotta have a chemist now to go. You gotta hire. I don't. There's a lot of country condition experts. The chemists are going to become just as important. You need to find a chemist for an expert opinion. I mean, that's not even being facetious.
Wonderful. Well, cool stuff. How many more cases do we have?
Oh, I'm not going to get in depth into either any more, but I just want to note for everyone, as I noted on the podcast, obviously, Saban-Cach, the Attorney General of the U.S. out of the 3rd on January 25th, and Cristobal Antonio out of the 9th on January 26th. These are mega decisions on asylum and like everything asylum related. Saban-Cach is about indigenous individuals in Guatemala. Cristobal Antonio is about perceived lesbians. She wasn't even a lesbian, but she was persecuted because they thought she was. So like, these are big decisions with like quotes for days for your briefs and, you know, very non-citizen friendly standards. I mean, give them a read. If you're in the 3rd or the 9th, give them a read on your asylum briefs.
Where's the 3rd?
3rd is Jersey. And quite frankly, I don't even know what else is in the 3rd, but definitely New Jersey.
There's
definitely
enough going
New
on
Jersey.
in Jersey. I'll cover you.
Yeah, right. Who else is in Jersey? I don't know. I'm going to make somebody upset, but definitely New Jersey. That I know.
Thanks. That's interesting.
Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's in the 3rd. That too. Pennsylvania and New Jersey for sure.
Hardcore states, immigration states. That's cool. Well, thanks a lot for coming on the show again. Stuff to think about. What is so? You got the red eye going to Florida. Are you going to be speaking at the conference?
Yeah, I'm going to speak on asylum at the conference. Actually, I might talk about Cristobal Antonio and Saban-Cach. To be honest with you, yeah, I was speaking on asylum Thursday afternoon with a great panel. Always an honor to be asked, and it's a lot of fun. And I get to see my parents, get to see the others at the Kurzban law firm. So good all around.
You know, the South Florida chapter is really having some great conferences. They're on their own right, almost like a go-to thing where a lot of people across the country just fly in for that as if it's a AILA National kind of concept.
Yeah, they're a juggernaut, but so is AILA Southern California. That LA conference was no joke. I think those are the two juggernauts, and I like to spend my time with both of them. So that's pretty fortunate. I'm just like straddling the two coasts with AILA.
For sure. Well, thanks for coming on, Sherry. Stay on the line. We'll talk for a minute or two. But thanks for listening. Check out the Immigration Review podcast, wherever podcasts are found. We're neck and neck. So if you search immigration, it's going to be us popping up at the top with a thing here, there from news sources. But for immigration lawyers, these are the two podcasts you got to listen to become really good at what you do.
Thanks, John. Really appreciate that.
Thanks again.